All right, I guess the time has come. We've got to discuss AEW's television offering for Wednesday night, May 24th, the Dynamite episode. And I guess because it's coming up on a holiday, Brian, Memorial Day weekend. Here in the United States, I guess that is. It's not a worldwide thing. But remember in the territories, in the holidays, like Christmas time or when the kids were out of school this summer or whatever, they used to bring in the midgets or some kind of attraction. Hey, bring the kids. The midgets are wrestling tonight. That was in the newspaper ads. Well, in this case, I guess Tony thought, hey, bring the kids. Pockets is wrestling tonight. I got to explain to everybody that because of the announcement that was going to be made, I never watched this program live as it happens because I can't stomach it without fast forward and the ability to stop and pause and go away and compose myself, right? But because of the announcement they were going to make, I had some paperwork to do and I plopped it down on the couch and I turned the TV on and I said, I will listen to this live or watch this live, at least through the announcement. And I'll do my paperwork in the parts that I would just normally not watch, right? So I couldn't fast forward anything. And the very first thing on the program is Pockets defending his Dollar General Store championship against the megastar himself, Kyle Fletcher. For those of you saying, who? Kyle Fletcher was the high school sophomore that attacked Pockets backstage from behind during a backstage promo last week and beat him up and picked up his prestigious Dollar General Store title and held it up next to apparently, Kyle Fletcher has one from the IWGP. He's got a belt. Everybody's got a belt. And that was the angle to have this match. And first off, what is Kyle Fletcher's gimmick, Brian? He's part of the tag team that I thought at first their name was Aussie Oldham. Now I see it's Aussie Open. His partner's injured, so he's doing singles matches. He looks like, as I said, an in-shape high school sophomore or junior. Maybe he's captaining the football team. He looks like he's 17 years old. He's in shape.
He looks like he's in his 20s.
And he's dressed like a video game villain. So what is his gimmick? Here's Kyle Fletcher. He's from Australia, but he doesn't dress like Crocodile Dundee. He dresses like a video game villain, but he doesn't look like a video game villain. He doesn't look like fucking General Zod. He looks like goddamn Alfalfa. So.
Alfalfa.
Yes, Alfalfa. His little hair sticking up on top of his head. Carl Alfalfa Switzer.
That's right.
So, what is his gimmick? He just they're dressing up. They're kids dressing up in cool costumes. The president. Imagine if goddamn Dusty Rhodes decided, you know what? I'd really like to dress up as a goddamn video game character. How would have he looked when he was the biggest star in the fucking business, coming out dressed up like one of the Ghostbusters, like they did on this show here a while back?
I don't even remember Kyle Fletcher coming out with that outrageous ring gear. That's why I'm a little surprised by this.
It's a goddamn giant robe with there's green things hanging down and fucking tassels, and
that's just a standout. I mean, if you look at Japanese wrestling, a lot of those, and he's primarily been wrestling over there, a lot of those wrestlers come out with flamboyant, spectacular outfits.
He looks about as flamboyant as a guy going for his fucking driver's license test. He's a fucking teenage kid.
Well, luckily he's against Mr. Charisma.
Well, that's the point I'm making. You've got this guy. We're not sure who he is or what he is, but he looks like he's in shape. But he's wrestling a fucking nondescript guy in blue jeans and a bad haircut who looks like he's playing wrestling with a good-looking high school athlete who's doing the aggressive parkour. And I was wrong about Pockets in one aspect. Because, I'm not dignified this to watch it for quite some time. But I said it's always the same thing anyway, he never changes. Well, I was wrong about that. He has changed. He's trying to wrestle. That's worse. Because instead of just doing a few fake things and standing around with his hands in his pockets, now he's doing everything that's ever been invented. And so is the other guy. And that's what it was. It looked... I understand now why that WWE fans roll their eyes at this when the WWE wrestling is just as silly or fake or boring in different ways. But these people look like children playing. And it goes on and on because they're on their trampoline in their mother's backyard living out a fantasy of being on national television doing this hoo-ha. And at one point, did you see? Pockets gives old Kyle Fletcher what was alleged to be a flying DDT off the top rope onto the apron of the ring, but he missed him and fell on his ass on the floor, and old Kyle went anyway. And they both almost killed themselves. And then they replayed it. And Taz actually missed the first time that they missed. And Taz said, now watch the impact here. And they replayed it. There was no impact. Where was the impact, Jerry? There is no impact. He missed everything.
Maybe that's his gimmick. He asked what his gimmick was because he also got the super kick before he got the super kick later in the match.
Yeah. And after these two had finished with their play wrestling video game match, no bump was left unsold. Everything either looked completely phony or like it should have killed somebody, but they got right up. The match made no sense from start to finish. It was a collection of moves that they've come up with that they did over and over, and it went for fucking ever. This is wrestling for people who don't like wrestling. It doesn't mean anything and they don't care and they're not going to remember it tomorrow, but it's just something to watch. And then the company mascot kicked out of, was it 2 or 3 tombstone pile drivers, including one off the second rope. And then won the match with some kind of half-ass roll-up that I think they kind of fucked up, but nobody could tell. And he retained the Tony Khan Junior High School Featherweight Championship. And at that point, we were 20 minutes into this program by the time they finished jacking themselves off. And I couldn't take it anymore, and I switched over to Jeopardy Masters, which I was recording to watch later, and came back to this fucking program the following day. Your thoughts?
You have any thoughts on who the Jeopardy host is? Mayim Bialik or Ken Jennings?
I gotta be honest, I like Mayim, but Ken Jennings is better, and it flows better. And he's more personable, I think. Mayim is possibly too intelligent to be friendly.
I think that's a very good assessment, and neither one of them were on this program, this friendly program. I mean, it was what it was. I don't really watch Orange Cassidy matches, but I did watch towards the end of it, just because I thought it may be ending soon. And, you know, they got the crowd into it, and the crowd were hot. And there was a point, and I don't remember the specific example. And again, it's not my kind of thing all around, but there was a point here where it's like, okay, that was the moment to end it.
That was the time to go.
Like the crowd was peaking, and then it kept going after that, and it was noticeable to me at home that the crowd came down. And there's a lot of things at AEW that, and it's not just the matches, it's the promos too. There's a lot of things that should end quicker that don't, and it extends things for no reason.
They give the guys too long because, have a classic match, go 20 minutes. Well, part of the thing about booking, when you know how to do it, is don't give guys too long for the match they're probably going to have. In this case, in Pocket's case, we know 30 seconds is too long. It's just Tony's weird fucking fetish here or whatever. But at the same time, again, you can't. We talk about the matches in WWE being rushed through and being made unimportant. It's not the length of them necessarily as much as the fact that they're an afterthought, or they're broken up with so many commercial breaks, or the emphasis is on everything else. Here, the opposite is the problem. You get one of these stinkers going on, You can't get away from it. They will not end. And that's the common theme that I noticed when I started seeing independent shows in the late 2000s. And they set their match up ahead of time. They've got a bunch of cool moves. They get everything in the match, and then they end it with something simple. And they don't know how to go when the time is right. And they would get a match. The people would be raring to go and raving hot, and they'd be ready for the finish. Then it'd go 5 more minutes. And by then it's like, so that, and there's nobody either to teach these people here or that they will listen to when people are trying to tell them. Because if he kicks out of 1 tombstone pile driver, it'll be even better if he kicks out of 4. So that was this. So I picked the rest of it up later on my DVR. But did you see Ricky Starks, the guy we used to like before he became a whipping boy? Is this how many times in a row does he end up either being carried out, dragged out, left on his face, laying, beaten up, or humiliated on this television program?
It's happened a bunch. I was kind of hoping when I saw this promo, okay, they've ended the stuff with him and Jay White. They're going to move on. Good promo. He's always a good promo.
So for the folks who were lucky enough not to see this, he did a promo backstage that lasted not even a minute and pretty much got finished. And then here came Gin and Juice and attacked him again and beat him up and threw him into a bunch of the equipment and whacked him with a chair. And then while Juice was lurking over the top of him, Gin White put an arm lock on him, like that's going to hold him immobile. And then the camera gets a close-up while they're committing physical assault so that they can then do a laughing promo to Starks, and he's apparently completely unable to do anything about this. And nobody's yelling, and nobody's coming to help. And this was one of the faker-looking things that I've ever seen, even on this television. And what it did was 2 things. It further reinforces that Ricky Starks is not a guy that we should give a shit about because he's not going to win in the clinch. And he's not a man that stands up for himself. He's a flunky that gets the shit kicked out of him in an unconvincing way. And at the same point, we don't really care about Gin and Juice because they're obviously not serious either. And they're just doing the typical, we're going to perpetrate a wrestling angle thing backstage. Starks never takes up for himself or stands up for himself. Can you imagine 2 middle card guys coming back and just beating up Cody Rhodes and then cutting a promo on him while they hold him down? Ay.
Someone posted, I saw the other day, that Jay White looks like Adam Cole and Pac had a baby.
All right. Hey, did you see the Jungle Boy is changing up his careers?
Hey, Derek. No, I didn't see that.
Well, yeah, because they showed a little bit of what he's doing now. He's quit wrestling and he's going out on auditions. And he did, well, this, I don't even think this was actually the real audition. I think this was kind of a first reading for a part in a play that he did. It may have been on a teleprompter, or maybe he just memorized it because he's got a real good memory, or maybe he was hypnotized or somaed and he was reciting something that, somebody snapped their fingers and he had been hypnotized to recite these words. He didn't know what they meant. He didn't know he was doing it because there was no feeling or emotion in it. But he recited them all very well and didn't even use any contractions. Enunciated everything properly. He's in the main event of a fucking pay-per-view. And he's doing promos where it's like he's in a trance. What the fuck was this? Why would you air that?
And that's one of his good promos.
Not even. Seriously. They couldn't give him a second crack at that. That was the best they could get. Maybe it was a second or a third or a fifth or whatever, but he's in the main event of a pay-per-view. And this is how he was represented, except for when he comes out later on and stands there like a goddamn sleepwalker. Further comments on Jungle Boy?
I don't know what else to say. He was dressed like a sleepwalker when he came out later on. I'd never seen him wear that outfit out there before.
I think he ought to come out holding a candle in one of those old-fashioned candle holders and wearing a fucking stocking cap with a ball on top of it hanging down to his crotch.
I think it's time to make Jungle Boy a chicken shit heel and take advantage of the fact that he's so much smaller than everyone and the fact that whether he's a good guy or not, he comes across as a disinterested rich kid in these promos.
It doesn't matter. He wouldn't get any heat because he doesn't have any personality. He could be a heel, do heel things, but it wouldn't look like he meant them because it doesn't look like he means this because he's sleepwalking.
Maybe you can make Anna Jay his mommy.
Again, Anna Jay looks lovely, but they ought to, if they've got any idea of pairing her up with him on camera, they ought to end that real quick and get some use out of her by putting her with some top guy that she could actually accentuate. All righty then. So the FTR live in-ring promo on this program that continues to parade along. They're making me dislike the people I like. They sent these guys out there. They've got nothing to talk about because this issue has been poorly conceived with Jeff Jarrett and his gang. And it's complicated and confused and muddled, and which side's Mark Briscoe on? And they're trying to sell it, but what are you selling? And Dax has to do the promo that, basically a promo on TNA for the smart fans to get anybody to react. Jeff, you've broken 1 million guitars to stay relevant. You bunch of TNA rejects. Gee, talk about maybe don't tell the truth about the fucking baby faces. Don't tell the truth about the heels in this situation. And then he drops Dixie Carter's name to get a pop. And then here comes Mark Briscoe's music. And he gets in the ring. And I'm thinking, oh, no. Because Mark is mad because Dax pile-drived him when Dax had the liquid spit in his face by Sanjay. And Dax was blind. They just showed the footage and it's clear what happened. And Mark is still mad about it. He didn't watch the footage. You're making Mark needs to look crazy but not stupid. He needs to be the crazy guy that's smarter than everybody else because he actually is. His IQ's 150 something or whatever. But he doesn't need to look like he doesn't know what the fuck went on, so he slaps Dax. But then to make sure that everybody still doesn't know what side he's on, he storms out of the ring, and here comes Jeff and the whole gang, and Mark slaps everybody except Jay and Zippy the Pinhead.
And the giant has his arms out. He's like, oh, what's wrong? He's a commiserating giant. He's like, come on, hey, I'm bigger than everyone, but relax.
And Mark told Jay that he was tired of the bullshit. They bleeped bullshit, and they bleeped something that Dax said. So they're cracking down on the language. But again, Mark should have slapped the giant. That might have saved this thing. But the giant is not in any way intimidating. He looks like a big goof and acts like one. And this whole thing is, again, Mark Briscoe, the referee, the guy who's in the middle of this, he should be a singles top babyface going for a major championship in this company. Because that opportunity was lost along with so many more. And now he's being made to look stupid and nobody gives a shit about this. And FTR and Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett are going to be an excellent tag team match, but nobody gives a fuck about it because the way that everybody's been built and used and treated, much less this issue in specific. And I'm afraid they're going to fucking gimmick the whole thing up to where it's going to be a mess with 18 run-ins. We don't even get a good match out of it. So there you go. You tell me what you think.
unfortunately, this is what was obviously the road they were going down in terms of the creative issues with this series of angles and whatever this is. I don't want to see the match. With that said, I'm willing to bet it'll be a good match. Dax Harwood and Cash in there with Jay Lethal, it will be good. If Jeff can't work at that pace, that's when you get all the smoke and mirrors. That's when you get Karen running out there doing whatever she did on TNA when I didn't watch, and you get the Giant out there doing nothing.
If Jeff can't work at that pace, he will still be able to do entertaining shit that people haven't seen that will be new and get them into the match. What I'm worried about is the finish. That has nothing to do with the pace. The smoke and mirrors might come in the finish, that it'll get overcomplicated.
They have really squandered FTR just since getting back the tag team titles. And again, this doesn't feel like a world tag team title feud. Then you get to this match. Again, it could be good. We'll see what happens. But the Mark Briscoe stuff drags it down to being so stupid, like you said.
Yeah.
Because it was cool watching him walk away, slapping everyone and pushing everyone. Yeah, that was great. But he doesn't see any of the shows for the last few weeks. None of his friends sent him the clip. Nothing. He had no idea what really happened. He's still mad about that. I joked about it the other day in the preview, that it's Mark Briscoe on the pole. That's what this feels like. This is everything I was afraid of with the worst of Jeff Jarrett. And I'm not saying he's guilty of everything with this, but the feeling. It's the feeling. And Dax is out there talking about Dixie Carter on this show. This feels like TNA. This doesn't feel like it belongs. Hopefully they have the match and everyone moves on from there.
Speaking of moving on, Renee Moxley Good was in the back with Sammy Guevara, and she tells him that MJF's offer that he made still stands. If he'll lay down in the four-way, he'll get the big check. But Sammy, I'll have you know, is a babyface this week, and he's not for sale. And he actually said now they've got dueling, maladjusted loser 20-somethings appealing to apparently what they believe to be the biggest part of their audience they have left, which is loser, maladjusted 20-somethings. Because now Sammy's doing Darby's gimmick. He said, I had people tell me what to do. Well, I refuse to grow up and live in the real world like all my old bosses at my old jobs told me to do. Jesus H. Christ. No wonder you're a fucking putz now.
It used to be like, I was so bad I couldn't work anywhere. I couldn't have a boss. Now it's like, everyone told me what to do. I didn't want their advice. I'm going to do it my way.
They kicked Dick the Bruiser out of the Green Bay Packers for being too rough for the NFL.
That's right.
And fucking hitting his coach over the head with a fucking helmet. But Sammy said, I wouldn't fucking... Later on, Darby says, yeah, I used to fucking clean toilets at a goddamn flea market or whatever he said. Yeah.
Hey, by the way, what advice were they giving him that he was ignoring? I mean, he wasn't working at like... It's a major office, I don't think. So was it just like, show up on time?
Yeah, show up on time and make sure when the dinger goes off on the fryer, pull the basket out.
Tuck your shirt in. Like, what was the advice that he ignored?
Kid. Yeah. Because also this had to be so many years ago. He's like, what, 20-4? So many years ago.
No more flips off the roof.
Apparently, they think that the audience they have left at this fucking soft trampoline wrestling appeals to is a bunch of loser 20-somethings that look up to people that say, I wouldn't grow up and live in the real world like everybody told me to. And sooner or later, I found a sucker billionaire to give me a lot of fucking money to do stupid shit. All right. The 6-man tag team title was on the line with the House of Black defending against the 6-man duo of A.R. Fox, Blake Christian, and Metallic. And this babyface team was so weak that they got their entrance in the break. So, and they come up, they're already in the ring. Poor old referee Aubrey Edge, she was trying to hold up all 3 of those heavy belts. She was sway backed, the poor thing. She couldn't hardly support all that weight. And the House of Black had their weird lighting effect. And they did a bunch of shit, and nobody knows who these fucking baby faces are or cares. We'll probably won't see them again for 6 fucking months. But at the same time, they let him do a bunch of shit. And then the House of Black won with 3 simultaneous submission holds at the same time, which is sort of the meaning of simultaneous. Did I miss anything, or was that a proper overview?
I mean, it's an interesting match to have. The spectacle of them, whether you like it or not, it's a different look. They do their thing. They're wrestling. I mean, AR Fox, out of the 3 of those guys, has been on this show the most, and he's barely been on this show. Metalik, I believe, was a star. Was it NXT, or he was in the Cruiserweight division, or 205 Live in I don't even remember exactly. I don't think we've seen the other guy before. It was really about the House of Black. Do they put this match on this show because they know they're not going to win the ratings this night? Or do they think this is the best way to showcase them? And what do you think of the look in the room with the lights?
It's just, I like the idea of the arena being dark. I don't want to see all the people in the stands in the entire arena through the whole fucking match. I like attention being on the ring, but this is just, it looks different. That ain't always bad, but it's just spooky kind of they get their own lighting treatment. Fuck. It worked for Kane, and even then it didn't go for fucking ever. Except for Julia Hart, who looks great and ought to be the corner woman for a top guy because she would add to the package. Don't let her wrestle. I don't, and the one of the tattooed guys was okay when we saw him as a single, but we never see that. And I just,
The other problem was they had this big 6-man tag team tournament, the Trios tournament, after everything had All Out, with the Elite and Death Triangle and the usual suspects. Since these guys won the 6-man tag titles, there's no division. That's why they're wrestling. Any 3 men who want to get together can wrestle us. Yeah, because there's no division.
Yeah.
There are no other 6-man tag teams competing in this right now.
Just like there are barely any tag teams competing in this company.
Jeez.
But there's plenty of groups. And speaking of groups, the BBC was backstage and they blathered. And, I think I've come up on another reason why this doesn't make any sense at all, because they're the top heel group in terms of positioning on the card and the way they're being presented. But they do the worst heel promos because they don't think that they're heels. They think they're cool. The plumber thinks he's cool. It's going to be a storm of violence. So they do horrible things in terms of violent things to people, but they're not doing them from behind. They're not cheating. You can't really tell what cheating is anymore in this company because everybody just does whatever they want. But there's no element of any attempt to make you dislike these fucking people because of their actions. He thinks he's cool. And now it's just, well, you're going to be heels because that'd be badass because we'll be cool heels and we'll drink blood and storm violence. And so this doesn't make any impact on anybody otherwise than the people watching wrestling to see play fighting, which is the miserable, meager audience they're left with because they won't do anything to make anybody else watch. But do you think that they're horrible heel promos because they're not heels? They're just beating up all the baby faces.
The way Moxley allows himself to be booked doesn't go together with a heel that's going to be booed, especially considering the fans are predisposed to like him. I don't even think he's the biggest issue with the promos, as ridiculous as he is. And at this point, as funny as he is. But Danielson, to me, it just feels like he's trying to work himself up into something he doesn't believe.
Yeah. And Bryan Danielson, one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, has been completely minimalized and is bopping around out there on the periphery of the thing.
This is the weekend of the pay-per-view, and I'm assuming that this feud may go on for a little longer, but the pay-per-view's here. This is a big match, the Anarchy and the Arena match. It feels like Danielson's still trying to sell us whatever the hell this group's supposed to be. And we're going into the pay-per-view. That's the problem. Claudio and Yuta did a great job standing there doing nothing.
Well, speaking of people who usually do a great job but are hamstrung, hampered, or handicapped by the environment they find themselves in, I think MJF's triumphant string of in-ring promos came to a crashing end here. He comes out, he throws coffee or something on Tony Schiavone. He knocks the people a little bit. He did say he wanted Jungle Boy in an echo chamber so he could bore himself to death listening to himself. And I wrote here as this is going on, MJF is great. What does he have to talk about? A forced story that Tony Khan wanted to tell because he decided he was going to tell it 4 years ago. And he's trying so hard to figure out some way MJF is to sell that these other three are on his level and somehow pay-per-view attractions while trying to be a heel and say they're not on his level. And then he's sick of the lack of competition and competency in that company and respect for what he's done. And he's doing the contracts coming up and wants to leave again deal, which that story in itself, and with all of the other things that were going on with MJF at one time, that may have been great, but I think that may be a rickety bridge that they do not want to tread anymore, that people are unhappy here at the incompetency and that they want to leave for bigger companies. But then whether he's going to take his ball and go home or what, he's doing this promo, he's trying too hard to get this fucking issue over. Because apparently he, like everybody else, realizes it's not. And then Darby's music plays, and I'm thinking, my God, it's 56 minutes into the show. They got 4 minutes to the top of the hour. They're peaking early. They mismanaged their time. They are not going to get Darby and MJF in the ring face-to-face at the 9 o'clock hour with anything interesting because they're too early. And that's where Darby goes on his spiel, which works for him because look at him. He looks like a former homeless person that's made a lot of questionable decisions in his life. And you could identify with him and his, deprived upbringing or whatever the fuck. If Sammy just did his gimmick. But Darby now talks about when I graduated high school, I did what everybody wanted me to do, and I ended up cleaning toilets. Well, maybe instead of graduating high school, you should have bothered to learn how to get a fucking job. I don't know what to tell you. That's what I would say, but I know there's people that are identifying with this motherfucker. I was making quite a comfortable fucking income when I was still in school through the wrestling business without having to take any bumps, but nevertheless. He said, I lived in my car and I cleaned toilets, but AEW saved me. So now I can live how I want to live with Travis Pastrami and I can climb Mount Everest. And he's doing the same thing Sammy was just trying to do, appeal to all the losers and bums that would look up to him for sleeping in his fucking car. Brian, would you not turn to crime before you had to sleep in your car, just as an aside?
I slept in my car a few times.
Did you really?
Yeah, I parked out in Jones Beach, slept in the car.
Well, but that was on purpose. You had a place to go.
I was hiding from the cops. No, I had a place to go. I wanted to sleep on the beach.
Okay, he was talking about doing it not as an option, but as a necessity.
Yeah,
Nevertheless.
I had an option.
And again, so Darby says he's going to win with a headlock takeover, and MJF responds by kicking him in the balls. And then Sammy's music plays, and he hits the ring, and MJF runs off. But as MJF is in the entranceway, Jungle Boy's music plays. Well, now MJF is trapped. You got Jungle Boy on the top of the stage, 50 feet on one side of him. And you got Sammy in the ring on the other side of him, 50 feet. And obviously, he can't just turn and hop over the rail and leave through the fire exit. So he has to try to run and hit Jungle Boy with the belt. But Jungle Boy ducks. So now MJF, the world champion, is having to do duck spots on the apron with this fucking clown. Jungle Boy ducks and MJF turns right around. He was running away, right? When Jungle Boy ducked, MJF was running up toward the exit. But instead, he turns around and runs right back at Jungle Boy so Jungle Boy can clothesline him. And then Jungle Boy picks up the world title belt and stands there like the poster boy for Propofol with no expression on his face, no movement, not firing anybody up, not excited, not energetic. And as a result of that, the fans were not, underline not, losing their minds over any of this. And the whole thing was over by 9 o'clock. So the top of the hour saw a pre-tape with Wardlow and Arn Anderson in the back. Your thoughts on this preposterous attempt at trying to make this match interesting?
I mean, I don't think it's all MJF's fault. I mean, when you said it's
No,
the
none
first
of it
in-ring
was.
promo that you don't like, I mean...
That's what I'm saying. He's got, they sent him out there with nothing.
It's all on his
shoulders. He's got nothing to talk about. He's got nothing that nobody cares, and he's trying too hard because he knows it.
You know, instead of this being the first Wives Club feud, of like the three enemies who get together because they mutually hate MJF. It should have been, what was that movie, Loverboy? Where he's fucking everyone's girl, and they're all mad at him, and they go after him for that. Because you could at least understand that. None of this makes any sense. I don't want to hear any more about anyone in high school. I can't think of any wrestlers when I was growing up. I mean, we knew Randy Savage played minor league baseball and Hulk Hogan was a bass player. But I didn't know what anyone was like in high school. Or the trials and tribulations of dealing with bosses, or any of these things. We know it about all four people in this match. All four of them talk about, like, being teenagers still. We need to get past that. I also don't want to hear any more of the whole AEW saved me. I mean, maybe that's true. Do it on a podcast interview or something, but that doesn't need to be in the ring and on this show in front of the crowd.
So that reinforces everybody's opinion in the viewing audience that, oh, well, all these jackoffs must be a bunch of fucking unemployed, homeless losers, and they pick them up and teach them how to flip and send them out to the ring. That's what they're making wrestlers out to be.
This feud has been poorly put together. You know, the good thing is Darby has proven himself to be good on the mic. The bad thing is I think that the more comfortable he gets, he's talking too much.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's going to be a big help. Where they go with Sammy after this will be interesting because, again, he's been a heel babyface. We'll see what happens, but...
Boy, if they wanted to elevate Sammy, I wonder why his former boss, Chris Jericho, didn't put him over on his way out of that group, because obviously he's now not affiliated with that group anymore. He hadn't been seen with them. He's not involved in their current activities. Maybe Jericho might have slipped him over on the way out, but no, that would have gotten away of something.
Can you imagine if MJF, after he beat Danielson, all of a sudden he's out there doing a promo and Sammy comes in there out of nowhere and just goes after him? This guy was hitting on my girl in the back when I was in the ring. Same thing with Jungle Boy. This guy was hitting on my girl when I was in the ring. Darby will make up a girl. We'll get some girl, put some makeup on her. People will believe it. You know, paint a skull on her face.
Or Travis Pastrami.
Like, that would have been something at least you could understand why everyone's trying to get to him and everything that's going on. Not that you don't understand the motivation, but no one cares about the motivation here. It's been poorly done. A waste of MJF.
Well, nevertheless, I gotta make mention of this. Taya Valkyrie versus Lady Frost. And I don't know what's happened. Do I have a brain tumor, Brian? Didn't we see Taya Valkyrie have a couple of good matches? She looked good in that Frankie Monet gimmick in NXT. And she looks great regardless. She's got the size. She's striking look. I thought for sure we'd seen her have some good matches, hadn't we?
You seem pretty pumped up about her when she got to NXT. I'd never seen her before then. I don't remember any of her matches in NXT. The big match I remember her having in AEW was that match with Jade, which...
Yeah.
Remember she rolled herself up? She leaned into Jade's legs and rolled herself up. That was it. Other than the reputation, I have never really seen her. This was my first exposure other than a Jade match.
I don't know what fucking happened, but I mean, and I don't know about Lady Frost either. She could be Chilly Willy for all I know, but they tried to do a lucha match, and neither one should be trying to do lucha, it didn't look like, because that didn't pan out. And this was just awkward as fuck. And toward the end, Lady Frost was turning cartwheels for no apparent reason, and they were just pushing each other and rolling around. And the crowd was like they were in suspended animation. And I thought Taya was supposed to be the baby face because she's the one that Jane Cargill screwed over and wasn't allowed to use her finish against Jane. But yet Taya seemed like the heel here. But yet won with hers and Jane's and Beth Phoenix's finish. And this was brutal. That's all I got to say about that.
I wouldn't say it was brutal. I wouldn't say it was good. It was certainly not something I thought I should see around 9 o'clock on the show. And I thought Lady Frost looked fine. I'd never seen her before. But there are big issues with women's wrestling all throughout AEW, and they just seem to add fuel to the fire and never do anything to actually fix things or make them better.
Well, and then, of course, we were to the point in time in the program where Tony Khan made the big announcement, which we covered that on the breaking news finale of the Drive-Thru, but he made the announcement that the debut taping or debut event of Collision on Saturday nights would be June 17th at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. So obviously, by inference, if nothing else, one is led to believe that Punk will be on the card. And we played the audio. We heard the mixed reaction because a lot of people cheered and some others booed. And one would think, since that was a small crowd in a half-full building in Las Vegas, that would be the hardcore AEW fans that would be more predisposed to like the Buckaroos and Twink. But nevertheless, we talked about how much damage have they done to all of the reputations of all of their top talent. Many of the top talent have been on a campaign for the last 9 months to make sure people think that CM Punk is the incarnation of pure evil and must be destroyed at all costs. So his reputation has been damaged with some segment of the fans. Conversely, the EVPs and their sycophants and hangers-on have been so childish and weaselish in the way that they've made fun of the situation, even not being able to talk about it on the TV show. And those events have been well documented, how they made fun of Punk and what happened. So they've got the Punk fans, and the regular wrestling fans didn't like these jackoffs anyway. Now the Punk fans be mad at them because they've been fucking around with Punk. So they've managed a rare lose-lose in that some segment of their fan base has been taught over the last 9 months not to like, and not in a heelish, we don't like him way, but in a way like we don't want this motherfucker in the company, or we don't want to see these assholes. They've managed to do that to several of their main event level talents. So this is really a wonderful thing to behold. And also Tony's eyes. We talked about that they've obviously coached Tony. He's reading off a teleprompter now. They've told him he's got to calm down. He's got to breathe in between words. Sometimes he's got to measure his speech, and they're probably turning the teleprompter at the correct, speed for him to talk. But Brian, they got to do something about the eyes, don't they? Those eyes as big as pie plates. He looks like a deer caught in headlights. They don't blink. They're not shifty. They're frozen. They're the opposite of shifty. They look straight ahead like he's got heat vision. He could burn through a fucking safe. Right?
Like he has heat vision.
I mean, this is what he's trying to do. Either he's trying to fucking send his thoughts into your head.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, just think about how much different it would be if he was still wearing glasses instead of contacts. It would be almost bigger once they got through the giant glasses.
Well, because the glasses, and like Les Thatcher's glasses he used to wear, that, he had some pretty thick lenses, it looked sometimes like a seal peering through a block of ice. But the thing that I'm thinking would be the last step that Tony needs to make himself an acceptable, a palatable television personality, he's got to cover up the eyes. He's got to cover up the eyes, those giant searchlight eyes. And I think the best way to do that, Brian, would be with a pair of Shady Rays.
Oh, what a suggestion. That's a great idea.
Yeah, because if Tony came out there with the Shady Rays on, then people wouldn't be immediately attracted and distracted to and by his giant softball-size orbs staring a hole in you and trying to, as I said, burn potentially his thoughts into your brain, because Shady Rays are distracting in a good way. People will say, hey, look at that guy over there with those sharp-looking sunglasses on his face. That's what, and then right there, you got them after that. Once they like your sunglasses, they're yours. Just sit on that park bench and eye them with bad intent. Folks, Shady Rays makes high-quality sunglasses that are just as good or even better than the expensive, highfalutin, hoity-toity brands that'll just take your pocket and pick it. And Shady Rays are a fraction of the price. They're durable. They're built to tackle all of your outdoor adventures, aggressive parkour, trampolining. The styles are timeless, and it means there's never a time for a style like this. And they're on point. They make you look great. And they've got polarized lenses for crystal clear vision and strong sun protection. As a matter of fact, you know how they do those polarized lenses? They take them first to the North Pole and then to the South Pole, and they test them. They have some Eskimo put them on and stare at the sun or the northern lights for an hour straight and then see if they go blind or piss themselves. That is the real test, ladies and gentlemen.
That is not the real test. That is not the real test.
Right there.
No, that is not the real thing you should do.
If you can stare at the sun for an hour straight without losing control of your bodily functions, that's the test of a good pair of sunglasses.
That is not how the polarization works for these glasses, ladies and gentlemen, but they are beautiful, they are nice, they are comfortable, and they do the job. Shady Rays.
Well, and if you want to look at the Aurora Borealis up in the northern poles, why don't they have an east pole and a west pole?
Where would it be?
Well, it'd be on the east and the west.
Where?
Right there where the north and south pole are, except in the equal part on the east and the west. What, have I got to do all this for you? You didn't go to school? Speaking of strong, folks, here's why you don't worry about losing or breaking your Shady Rays, because every pair is backed by the industry-leading Lost and Broken Replacements program. If you break or lose your pair, the second you take them out of the box, they will send you a replacement pair, no questions asked. And if you put them on your face and then you fall off something, and you not only break your sunglasses, but you break your face as well, they will pay for your plastic surgery to have your nose put back on the right part of your face.
Any accidents that happen to you while you happen to be wearing Shady Rays sunglasses are something that Shady Rays has nothing to do with. There is no liability towards Shady Rays.
What if the Shady Rays break and stick up your fucking nostril and go into your brain and cause you to become a vegetable and talk like a babbling fool and speak only in ancient Greek?
So what you're saying is you want to encourage the listeners to sue the sponsor.
No, I'm just saying that there has to be some culpability. Let's say, for example...
No, that's not their fault. It's not their fault. Let's say
for you're drunk as Cooter Brown, and you're trying to walk along the side of the street, and you fall out into the road, and you get, bam, hit by a goddamn passing bread truck, or possibly a septic tank pumping truck, and it drives the goddamn Shady Rays that you've just put on your face straight up into your fucking brain. And you have to have a brain surgeon come down from Teterboro specifically to take them out of your fucking head. Then certainly they'll send you another pair of sunglasses. Yes, we're not arguing that, but not certainly wouldn't they at least send you some kind of wound dressing treatment or something to put on that hole? Because the Shady Rays are so durable, your skin and bones are going to give first before these things do.
They don't have wound pads on hand to send out to people. And of course, if you're in an incident like that, it sounds like you really want to focus on the septic tank company or maybe whoever supplied you with the liquor, or maybe even the liquor company itself, as opposed to, I mean, why not go after the people who made your shoes? Your socks,
Well, you got a good point there.
your
Fuck
belt.
those people. If you hadn't stepped in that fucking puddle and your shoes fell apart because they got wet, you might not have tripped and fallen out in the road. But I thought wound dressing supplies were a federal requirement now with OSHA.
Not to send the people, to have in the office place, maybe.
Well, you could send them out for free, if you wanted to take care of people. Anyway, with every order, folks, Shady Ray's Impact Program works with nonprofits worldwide to make an impact on the lives of children and young adults, many of whom have been hit by a truck. They build places.
No, they haven't.
Well, you can't tell that for sure. You can't swear.
You can't swear.
Some of these pediatric cancer patients or young adults with cancer and MS, they could have also been hit by a truck. Shady Rays will help them too. They're not going to discriminate. Anyway, support Shady Rays to support the lives of children and young adults that are being helped by the Shady Rays Impact Program, as well as cover up your eyes so that if you're on television, people won't see that you're addicted to Adderall. And right now, folks, what's better than getting one pair of Shady Rays and not worrying if you break or lose them? Getting two and not worrying about anything. You won't have a care in the world. You'll fritter away your worries. You'll put them on down the road when you go to shadyrays.com/JCE and use the code JCE for a limited time. Buy one pair of Shady Rays, get a second pair for free. SHADYRAYS.com/JCE, code JCE. Second pair of Shady Rays free from JCE, because that's me.
That's right. Shady Rays, not Shady Raids. Those are what Jim used to do in high school.
Shady Raids. Sometimes it was at night. Under cover of darkness, we would make those raids.
Shady Rays!
Yeah, they're the same people I was just talking about. So Hangnail Page is back on the program with an eye patch that looks ridiculous on him. And he was talking to Officer Bar Brady, who asked him if he was friends with the Buckaroos and Kenny. And I don't know what his answer was. He didn't know about the Buckaroos. He didn't know if he and Kenny were ever friends, but at one point they were like family. So apparently he doesn't like a lot of his family because they're not his friends. I don't know. Moving on.
I couldn't get past the eye patch because we've had other people on this show with eye patches. Pac, Julia Hart, Moxley, various people with eye patches. Always a black eye patch.
Yeah.
He has a brown eye patch. That means they said, do you want this? He goes, no, I need one that's more color coordinated with my thing. I can't go with this.
Wait a minute. How do you know what color his thing is?
His thing being his gimmick.
Oh.
That's the thing I couldn't get past. The idea that he has the only brown eye patch we've seen in AEW history.
Well, he went to a designer eye patch place and got the latest colors. All right. Contract signing. Chris Jericho and Adam Cole. It's a contract signing for a non-sanctioned match. So they had to explain that it's just a personal contract between Chris Jericho and Adam Cole, even though there was the AEW logo was on the paperwork again. But did you hear that? They had to explain, how can you sign a contract for a non-sanctioned match with the company? Well, it's a contract between the two of them that they'll allow anything to happen.
Yeah, my lawyer would let me sign that.
And I wrote at the top, when Adam Cole is sitting there, Jericho comes out with Judas and the whole gang. And I wrote, good God, if a top babyface had to sit in the ring while the fans universally sang word for word the heel song on his entrance in the territory days, you would have only seen it happen once. No babyface would have worked unless Chris Jericho was the booker or an owner of part of the office. Every babyface in the territory days would say, if that son of a bitch comes out here and let these fans sing his song, I'm not working with him. It's ridiculous. So then Adam signs the contract and cuts the promo on what Jericho actually didn't do. the miscellaneous Saraya and her group of girls did to Britt Baker. Jericho handcuffed Adam. He had to watch a long promo about what Adam Cole was going to do to Jericho on Sunday. Among those things are he's going to break his legs, shatter his jaw, break his hands. Whatever happened to the old deal about a babyface shouldn't promise shit they aren't going to accomplish? Chris Jericho would be in a body cast.
The heel came out with the fans singing his song. Baby faces and heel traditional stuff is out the window with whatever they're doing here.
That's what I'm saying. That's why none of this matters. And nobody cares.
You know what else? They played that video of when Jericho and Saraya and the Outcast took down Britt while Adam Cole was handcuffed. Watching it again, it wasn't that bad. Britt was rolling around. She didn't bleed at all. She just rolled around and didn't even seem like she was yelling as much as Cole was. He was yelling at Jericho to do something. And Britt's been on TV ever since. How bad was it?
Yeah, she didn't lose any time. We didn't see any surgery footage. She wasn't out any longer than anybody else disappears on this program. It was just more shit. They've seen this. They've seen these things done or heard about these things being done in wrestling in the territories or old video or whatever. They don't know how they're put together, how they're carried out, how they're followed through on. It's just endless. Oh, let's do that thing we saw on a videotape.
And we just saw a contract signing on Raw. They did it better. Adam Cole should have said, woof, woof, bitch.
And after both of them droned on, and by the way, Jericho's stooges, again, all the heels, Daddy Mac, Mac Daddy, and Cool Hand Luke, and Jake Hager, and Danny Garcia, they all look ridiculous on purpose. They're visually comedy and not to be taken seriously. Nobody's getting any heat here. Chris Jericho and Adam Cole are talking seriously, but there were holes you could drive a 18-wheeler through in the angle and the logic before and after it. And in the behavior of all the people involved here, you can tell they're not serious. So nobody's getting any heat. It's just shit they're saying to each other. And then when Jericho brings up, well, there's still 5 of us and only 2 of you because Adam's there with Roderick Strong, that's when Adam says, so I made a phone call to a guy I idolized growing up. And out comes the Sheik. It looked just like him. Sabu has aged into the Sheik. He was wearing the nice suit and the headdress and the jewelry, just skinnier than the Sheik ever was at that stage in his life. But he looks like, with the beard and everything, he looks like, but it was Sabu. And he comes out and gets in the ring and does his pointing and does his stuff. And obviously, number one, they explained he does live there in Las Vegas. But also, this crowd, they remember Sabu. They know who Sabu is. I'm not trying to diminish his reputation in the industry at one time, but they bring out one guy that everybody also knows he's had to physically retire. He can't do this anymore. He's almost 60. In the suit, he looked like he might be about 170 pounds now. And he's one guy coming out, and there's still 5 of them. Now it's 5 against 3, with one of the guys being almost 60 and 175 pounds. And then he throws a chair and clocks Mac Daddy, and the rest of them just fucking run off. But I'm certainly not opposed to using wrestling legends on a wrestling show. But did this kind of just fall flatter than piss? Because not only did almost nothing happen, but this is not this ain't Stone Cold Steve Austin coming back to be in somebody's corner at SummerSlam or something, right?
No, look, nothing's hot right now, show-wide, but specifically this is Adam Cole's comeback. Does it really seem like it matters? They did an angle where they beat up his girlfriend while he's handcuffed. She's on the show just doing other things now. I mean, does any of it seem like it matters? Jericho's still the same goofy Jericho he's been for a while, so you can't take him seriously. If you've been watching AEW since the beginning, you kind of know what you're going to get. Now, like you said, him and the Jericho Appreciation Society, it's run its course. It did a while ago. It's time to move on. I can't imagine why anyone would be looking forward to this match.
So that was that. And then a bunch of people got up in arms that they brought Sabu in because I guess, I'd forgotten about this, but a couple of years ago when Jim Ross fell and blacked his eye and tweeted a picture of him with a black eye and he'd hurt himself, Sabu just cussed him out and said, send me the $150,000 you owe my uncle, the Sheik, and all this other stuff. And people retweeted that. And he's also said I can't even say these words that Sabu said, racist and or sexist and or homophobic and all this shit on Twitter. And people are like losing their minds over that. I think everybody knows Sabu's had fucking issues, right? I don't know him well enough personally to know whether he, as a normal person walking around in a sober state, really is any of those phobics. But I know that he had a lot of problems, was on a lot of stuff that would make you tweet irrational and maniacal and or variously misspelled things or say them in public. But is he on the canceled list, or has everybody almost just kind of realized that he was fucked up on drugs for a long time and said a bunch of crazy shit?
Well, I don't think any of that matters. No one cares if you're on drugs or drunk when you say the things. They care about that you said the things. With that said, I mean, it's Sabu. It's not like a main event guy, so I don't think it's that big a stink, but there does seem to be like a double standard. You know, Hulk Hogan and his wife are banned. Sabu is brought out for this angle, you know, so.
Well, but more importantly, the fucking Briscoes were banned from television.
But that wasn't Tony. But that was, to be fair, that wasn't Tony.
Okay, but then does everybody know that Sabu said all those F words and such and such suckers and all the things that I can't even say on the air?
That's why it was a surprise. You know, when Adam Cole said, I want to bring out someone who I have looked up to since I was a kid or whatever he said, what do you think Bobby Fish is thinking right now sitting at home?
Adam Cole didn't know who the fuck Bobby Fish was when he was a kid. Bobby was already a senior citizen at the time.
But the idea, here's Sabu coming out there.
Well, they had, of course, Adam Cole patterned his entire career after Sabu. Of course, no, he didn't idolize him as a kid. That was the only connection that they could come up with to make. Because, basically, Tony Khan is an ECW fan, and guess who lives in Las Vegas? Sabu. So, wow, wouldn't it be great if we put him on the program, even though he's 15 or 20 years past doing anything physical and looks like Ned at this current point?
Is he at the pay-per-view?
Yeah, he's going to be in the corner. He's going to be in Adam Cole's corner to counteract the giant 6.5 foot tall MMA fighter, the 3 25-year-old fucking guys that have him by 50 pounds apiece that stooge for Jericho, as well as Chris Jericho himself. Adam will be fine. He's got Sabu.
And Roddy.
Well, Roddy beat Daniel Garcia by cracky. They rushed into this thing with no entrances. They went a minute to the break. They come back. They rush through the rest of it. And Roddy wins with a suplex into a over-the-knees backbreaker type of thing. That was just to get Roddy a win, you know, like he should have had before he had a main event match with Chris Jericho. And doing everything backwards, god damn it.
A main event Falls Count Anywhere match with Chris Jericho.
Well, of course. Well, that goes without saying that it's got to have stipulations. And then finally, the main event on this program, I know you've been waiting for it, ladies and gentlemen. We were too. For the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. Because remember, Claudio and Felix had a match where the winner would get a shot at the other's title or whatever the fuck. So Ring of Honor World Title, Lucha Brothers, Felix and Penthouse against Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Useless. And at this point, they rang the bell. They had an immediate four-way. They exchanged some sloppy strikes. Then I counted approximately a dozen leg slaps on their kicks. Then they did a synchronized double dive Then Penthouse dove off the top to the floor onto Claudio and Useless. Then they all stood there for Felix to jump back and forth from one rope to another for 30 seconds before diving off on all of them. And at that point, I said, I can't fucking do this. I cannot stomach this. And I fast forwarded 10 minutes till they were going into their finish. Did I miss anything before we cover the finish?
I don't think so.
Okay. So basically, they're having their match, and suddenly Claudio's on the floor, and he sees an opportunity to roll in and help old Wheeler. But the Buckaroos, Maddie and Nikki, come out from under the ring at that exact moment to hold Claudio's legs, while behind the referee's back, he's distracted by Alex, the helper and assistant of the Lucha Brothers. Felix and Penthouse go for their double team package pile driver / double foot stomp off the top finish that they do. The Buckaroos have Claudio's legs. He can't get in the ring. The referee's distracted. They pick this poor fucker up and mistime this move and go over sideways. And they held up from completely killing him. They dropped him on his head. Actually, not on his head. More precisely, they dropped him on the back of his neck, where his chin was folded up to his chest and all his weight was above him. So that's even worse, really, than being dropped on your head. And the guy doing the double stomp, if he hadn't gone over sideways just far enough, he would have stomped him after the other guy planted him. Did you see that fuck up?
I did.
Jesus Christ. Why do these guys let these motherfuckers, all of them, any of them, do this goofy shit to them? They're not in control of anything. So then, that was the finish. Nearly finished him. 1, 2, 3. And then here comes the rest of the BBC, and Plumber Moxley gets in the ring on the microphone, and he's pissed. And he said Sunday, the Buckaroos and their friends were going to get plastered on the pavement of Las Vegas Boulevard in the most violent match ever. If you're squeamish, if we've offended you up until now, then that's nothing yet. He promised blood. He got a goddamn in that they weren't able to catch and bleep. He's an insufferable, unprofessional, very ugly man.
Yeah.
And that was Plumber Moxley.
Plumber Moxley.
So that was the program. Any closing thoughts on that closing angle?
I mean, this is the go-home show to the pay-per-view. This is the biggest thing on the pay-per-view, I think, just based on who's in it and the things that haven't gotten over going into the pay-per-view. And it didn't feel like that hot a finish. It doesn't feel like the fans are totally into everything right now. This is in Vegas, same town as the pay-per-view, several days earlier. But it wasn't a big crowd. They're getting smaller and smaller crowds. You brought up earlier the idea that none of this that's happened over the last year has helped any of the top stars. It's hurt everyone. Yeah. The Bucks mean less today than they ever have, and than they have in the last 10 years, maybe. Omega, less than he has in a while. Punk, I don't think All Out gained Punk fans, but it may have lost him some fans. AEW, listen, as bad as all of these people look in various different points throughout this whole thing, AEW as an organization looks horrible. So, for everyone that thinks like this whole thing was a big work to get to this point, no one benefited. No one really benefited. If the idea was, we'll fool the world and we'll work the wrestling media and we'll come out on top, no one has benefited from this. And, now they're almost launching a new brand on Saturdays because of it. Going back to this match, I didn't care to see this match. Claudio and Wheeler are not going to hold me. They're not. Lucha Brothers, it really depends on who they're working with. And I figured they have to do something here at the end of the show because there is a pay-per-view coming up. Here's the other interesting thing. The Bucks come up from under the ring, right? Where did the BCC come from? They come from the back. I've never seen Moxley come out of the back before, ever. How come he could come out of the back when the Bucks are under the ring, but not when he has a match?
He dresses in the back, but then he goes all the way out in the parking lot on the other side of the building before he comes in to wrestle.
Nothing else to say about it. An underwhelming episode of Dynamite, and I think a lot of the problems in AEW, even with Punk returning, I think a lot of people who have ignored the problems for a long time, going back to the beginning, it's almost impossible to ignore them now, even with Wembley.
So the question is, how many people ignored this television program last Wednesday night?
Let me pull that up right here. I have some ratings information. This was compiled by WrestleNomics. AEW Dynamite for the 24th of May was watched on TBS by 846,000 viewers on average.
Do you have the last several weeks?
I would have to pull them up. You'd have to give me a couple minutes, yeah.
Well, we'll go through this, but it doesn't even need to be read because it can be said. Over the last 6 weeks, they've had 5 of them that were somewhere between the 820 and 860 range, and then they had the one 900 outlier. But they're spinning in the same place. There's not any more wide variations. They don't have big shows that do over 1 million anymore and then it settles down like they were for a while. And they don't have the big numbers to start with that they used to, but they start and finish somewhere within a range of the same thing every fucking week.
I have the numbers here. Here's February. 901, 899, 827, 1,028,000. Here's March. 833, 858, 852, 954, 833. Here's April. 877, 866, 830, 863. And finally May, which we're in the middle of, or towards the end of, 776, 877, 814, and now 846.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In the last 13 weeks since they popped that 1 million whatever at the end of February, they've had one audience in the 900s and one in the 700s, and everything else has been in the middle of 800. That's pretty flat. Go ahead.
Well, this episode, May 24th, the first segment, 8 to 8:15 p.m., Orange Cassidy versus Kyle Fletcher with picture-in-picture, 906,000 viewers.
All right, that's what they start with from the Big Bang. And how many of those people were around for the last 5 minutes of that fucking fiasco 15 minutes later?
Well, again, after the Big Bang, it took a while for the planets to end up where they were going to end up and things to start to grow, but segment 2, 8:15 to 8:30 p.m., the continuation of Pockets versus Kyle Fletcher, Ricky Starks' backstage promo, Jungle Boy's promo, and the FTR Mark Briscoe, Jarrett, and Friends live promo segment, 923,000 viewers.
What? How did they manage to pick up 17,000 people for that 15 minutes of dreck? Was it the announcement? Are they tuning in to hear the announcement?
No way. Well, I shouldn't comment on anything as we go through the ratings, but segment 3, 8:30 to 8:45 p.m., the Sammy Guevara promo, the House of Black versus AR Fox, Metalik, and Blake Christian with picture-in-picture, 919,000 viewers.
Okay, so they're back down 4, but they're 13,000 ahead of the first quarter hour, which they never do. And this is telling me that we are soon to find the precipice off of which the lemmings are about to drop.
Segment 4, the Blackpool Combat Club promo, MJF and Darby Allin's live in-ring confrontation, and then the angle after that, 873,000 viewers.
Okay, so unfortunately, I think they mistimed it. I think that was supposed to be up at 9 o'clock and it was up at 8:52 or whatever, the 4 pillars. But they've dropped 46,000 people.
The 9 o'clock hour, segment 5, 9 to 9:15 p.m. The Wardlow video, Taya Valkyrie versus Lady Frost.
Oh boy, here it comes.
And Tony Khan's big announcement, 847,000 viewers.
Okay, so they lost 26,000 from the last quarter of the first hour, but they got the announcement. And if that is indeed what was keeping people through the rest of this crummy fucking program, or through the first part of this crummy program, now that the announcement has been done, is this where gravity takes over?
Segment 5, 9:15 to 9:30 p.m. The Adam Page promo, the Adam Cole Chris Jericho contract signing, and a Tony Storm video, 846,000 viewers.
They lost 1,000. Okay, well, where the fuck are these people going to go? Where's this average going to go?
Segment 7, 9:30 to 9:45 p.m. Daniel Garcia versus Roderick Strong with picture-in-picture, 733,000 viewers.
That's okay. But wait a minute, that was the only thing listed for that quarter? That didn't go 15 minutes.
That's the only thing listed here for this quarter, with picture-in-picture.
Good Lord, it didn't seem like that, but...
Well, the final quarter...
wait a minute. So the point is, there went 113,000 people, and I've got to think the 846 in Seg 6 after the announcement is people were waiting around. There's going to be something else said, right? One would think. What about Punk? Are we going to get a card? Anything else? And then they got tired of it.
Also, you realize there's not a mention of Punk. And then after that Jericho segment, if you sat through that and you saw Sabu, the next thing you see is Garcia just wandering around ringside waiting for his match. It was kind of awkward. Everyone else left. But the final segment, segment 8, 9:45 to 10 p.m., the Lucha Brothers versus Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta, and the post-match angle with the Blackpool Combat Club and the Young Bucks, 718,000 viewers.
Good Lord. Okay, so they kept everything. I mean, you can't argue with the first hour at all. 906, 923, 919, and 873. But then they got their announcement. 847, 846, 733, and 718. They end up 180, what is that, 8,000 people down from the start, which is over 20% of the fucking starting audience in 2 hours.
Now that Tony has CM Punk back in the fold, but seeing how these ratings are playing out, do you think Tony should sign Vanderpump to go against CM Punk?
If we could just figure out who this fucking Vanderpump guy is and what his finish is, it would be great, because I still don't know. But, well, I understand that in addition to ratings woes, now they are trying to mount a local push in the Las Vegas market to fill up the remaining seats at Double or Nothing. Did I hear about a cheeseburger offer?
And I'm looking into this because I'm trying to just see if there's any other sources for this to make sure it's real. Not that anyone's saying it isn't, but it just seems like someone else would have it, but no one else is doing anything. I guess AEW, we've talked about the issues with ticket sales. Apparently, according to this post, there's a bar in Las Vegas called Pub 365. They are giving away tickets to Double or Nothing with the purchase of a burger, 4 per table, and the actual card reads, it has the official AEW logo, AEW All Elite Wrestling, free tickets to AEW Double or Nothing with the purchase of a regularly priced hamburger and fries. Limit 4 tickets per table. The event date, May 28th, 2023. So, again, first of all, we don't know if it's real or not. I'm assuming it's real as of now. But secondly, A, do you have a problem with this in general, this kind of ticket offer, especially if tickets aren't selling? And B, is there anything AEW could do if a third party has tickets that is looking to unload them? Or how would this happen?
I mean, this bar and grill, they may know somebody there, or they may be friends with somebody. They got some tickets or whatever. There's a lot of different ways to try to fill up a building that you want to look good on television that's is not going to be full with ticket purchasing patrons. This one is kind of a new wrinkle. I mean, radio stations and sponsors since the beginning of time of wrestling shows. Hey, be the third caller, win 2 ringside seats for the big matches. Or, hey, come down to Joe's car lot and register for the drawing. We're going to give away ringside tickets to the big matches or whatever. That goes on all the time. And it's generally in conjunction with, like I said, if there's a radio remote going on at the car lot and they're going to have a clown down there with balloons and trying to get people to come down there to look at their cars, that's a way to do it. Might get free tickets. Or the radio station is giving out, the promotion has probably bought a schedule, and as well they've provided X number of tickets that the radio station gives them the value of the tickets in advertising. In other words, if you've got 10 $20 ringside tickets, there's $200. Okay, we're going to give you $200 worth of spots. And there's horse trading that goes on. And then they give the radio station gives the tickets away. Or in the smaller days, territory days, you just send the referee out go to the goddamn boys club or the Boy Scouts or a underprivileged kids group and hand out a bunch of free tickets or whatever. Get them in there. But somebody on Twitter said they must be really trying to break the ice with Cornette and get me to come, eat a cheeseburger, get a free fucking wrestling ticket.
No, get 4 free tickets.
Well, nevertheless, wait a minute, I thought, was it 4 tickets for a cheeseburger? Or if your table of 4 got cheeseburgers, you got 4 tickets?
No, it is free tickets to AEW Double or Nothing with the purchase of a regularly priced hamburger and fries.
Holy shit.
I guess per order, limit of 4 tickets per table, it does say.
Okay, so 1 ticket per burger. I mean, we can't just go crazy and give them away.
Well, that's the other thing. I guess it's not per person. If you order yourself 2 or 3 burgers, you get 2 or 3 tickets. And then you can go to the show and sit next to nobody. Isn't that a dream?
They really are trying to appeal to me. And there is the problem again, and we won't go into excruciating granular detail, but their welcome has run out in certain segments of the wrestling population now in the United States due to familiarity breeding contempt or just blaseness. It's not new anymore. How much money do we have? We want to support our friends, the Cucamonga Kids, but we're going bankrupt. And there's not enough new people coming into this mix that wants to take up the mantle of crusading for the, AEW. So meanwhile, in the United Kingdom, it's a happening. It's the most prestigious arena or stadium in the United Kingdom. It's a first-time thing. It's you got to be there. But that's the problem is we called this a few years ago. Unless they get a new audience, people to follow them and want to watch them in significant numbers, that they can keep these ratings up and keep these shows still selling tickets, they can't depend on this one hardcore group that is so easily pleased or so hate-filled toward the WWE, they want to see anybody succeed, even if it sucks, or just the play wrestling trampoline crowd, because they're not real wrestling fans. They can be swayed or distracted or, drug off with shining a light against the wall. Anybody just watches this car crash bullshit just to see guys take bumps, they're not lifers. They're going to come and go. They haven't done anything to make people interested in their personalities instead of their bumps and in their goddamn issues instead of their stipulations. And now it's over and over the same thing. How much of it can you watch? It's not any different anymore. So I think that's what's coming back to bite them in the ass in this country. They've devalued talent that they had that were over with people, as we've talked about, whether it be the EVP side or Punk side. It's overexposure of this constant chaotic angle after angle after angle to where nothing registers means anything. A lot of this talent wasn't ready to begin with to be on television. But now, even the people who were wishfully hoping that that was not the case have, unfortunately, many of them have been forced to look at reality. And they got to get their shit together and have a real company, Pinocchio, instead of Tony's play project. And he's got to admit that he's not up to a lot of this, whether it be booking, which has never been good, or whether it be the way that he handles his talent, which he's never had him under control. But when it was all friends and everybody was just happy to be there, it wasn't a problem because they weren't going to argue with each other because that was all their dream, for a billionaire to pay them way much more money than they deserved to have fun with each other. But when real professionals and legitimate stars started coming into the picture, people that wanted to draw money as well as be paid money, people that know what the business is about, the EVPs were starting to get shown up. They couldn't handle it. The friends are still in fucking indie mode. They can't handle it. And Tony can't be a boss and a businessman and handle his talent roster because they're all supposed to be his friends, and he's worried they won't be if he's mean to them. So everybody does their own thing at his expense and his company's expense. And it makes them all look like fucking idiots. And then, and this is the natural thing that's going to happen next when you can't get people interested in your personalities and your issues. It's just the product because they got a grudge against the big company and because they want to see mass mutilation on a major scale every week because it's an indie crowd. There's only so many of those. It's the same problem Ring of Honor had. Same problem everybody else has ever had. There's only so many people that want to watch indie fucking wrestling. And until you find people that can do better than indie wrestling, you're only going to get those people. And it may now be obvious that this guy has been given things that no other promotion in history, good, bad, or indifferent, have ever been able to get. He was handed $1 billion by his father because his father has tens of billions. He was handed network television by a company that didn't even know that they're the ones that fucking killed the wrestling business 25 years ago when they canceled their last fucking promotion. Everybody wants to fucking line up and work for Tony because he pays more than anybody ever has paid in the history of wrestling. And they've got all these advantages and they've done all this shit and they still have had 4 years and it's worse. They can't get it together. It's worse. How can you fucking fuck up with every advantage because of the people he chose to go into business with at the start of this whole thing? That is why we're here today with what we got.
And to be honest, it's not just the wrestlers. It's not just the people.
The people that he chose to go into business with. So there you have it. And that was AEW's Dynamite.
And boy, was it.